Chai with Manjula, a show about giving, featuring non-profit organizations, social activists, social entrepreneurs, and philanthropists who are giving back and making a difference.
Chai with Manjula is a show that is a must-see.
Welcome to Chai with Manjula. The problems faced by teenagers today are manifold. Mounting social and academic pressures may at times lead to depression, eating disorders, substance abuse, and in some cases even suicide. In fact, the suicide rate among teenagers has quadrupled in the last 25 years, making it the third leading cause of adolescent death in the U.S. So it is crucial that our education system nurtures the mental and emotional health and well-being of our youth. With this objective, the International Association for Human Values, also known as IAHV, has launched the YES program, which stands for Youth Empowerment Seminar, to empower teenagers with tools to manage their emotions and stress while bringing out the best in themselves as students, leaders, and community members. In the Bay Area, YES has been offered to over 3,500 students in 11 high schools during the last 2 years. Our guest today is Bill Herman, the National Director of the YES for Schools program. A former high school teacher, Bill has taught the Youth Leadership Training Program and other development programs in North America, Mexico, Belize, Haiti, Argentina, and Pakistan through IAHV, which is a sister organization of the Art of Living Foundation. IAHV also works in consultative status with the UN. Bill, welcome to Chai with Manjula.
Thank you.
Well, before we talk about the YES program for schools, tell us what kind of pressures and challenges are out there that our teenagers are finding hard to cope with.
Well, we have a huge diversity of issues that young people are dealing with today, from a lot of poverty in this country with the economy situation the way it is, parents that don't have much time to spend with their children because they're working numerous jobs, to people that have a lot of wealth, but their young people maybe feel under the pressure to get into top schools and things like that. So there's a huge range of stress that's actually out there now. And with all the gadgets and devices that we use these days, from the texting to the movies to the Game Boys, there always seem to be using something or another electronic, and there's very little time for young people to just take a few minutes and just be in a quiet space, which never seems to happen.
Actually, they have too many distractions.
Many distractions. And then obviously all the increase of depression that's happening in our youth is probably a function of these kinds of pressures and the enormous drug use and alcohol use in our culture. I mean, one of the questions that I often ask young people in high school is, what are the ways that most adults deal with stress in our society? And their answers are generally almost exclusively drinking alcohol, aggressive, violent behavior, yelling, sometimes abusive behavior, and things like smoking, drug use, overeating. So the way that they perceive adults dealing with stress are often ways that don't necessarily serve them. They're not ways that necessarily take away the stress. They're often things that tend to increase the stress levels.
So the adults around have a big responsibility, and they should set an example of how they deal with stress.
Well, I think it's not to blame anyone.
Yeah, not to blame.
It's not to blame, because that's probably the way they've learned how to deal with stress. But the fact is that we have healthy ways that we can start to offer to young people so that they can deal with stress in a healthy way. And this is something that we really need to start to introduce through the schools, because the fact is many kids are not getting they're getting fairly negative modeling for stress relief from their homes and from everyone around them.
So what is the YES program about? How did it start and how do you conduct it?
We started by really just going into schools and asking principals if this is something that they were interested in, teaching their students healthy ways to manage their emotions, manage their mind, to increase mental focus, because we found over the years of doing the breathing techniques that these techniques actually have the effect of giving greater mental focus and concentration. There's a whole array of techniques that we've developed that really work to give young people better tools to be able to be effective in their studies and to improve their relationships with peers and with their teachers, with their parents as well. So we have these tools, and we figured out in the last number of years, I guess 5 or 6 years, that we've really focused on getting these programs to kids in schools, that we figured out how to make it more accessible to them so that they have a good time doing it. It's a lot of fun, and they also learn something that's extremely valuable that they can use their whole life.
Can you describe some of these tools that you have developed over time?
One of my favorite exercises that I do on the very first day of the class is what I call the button-proof exercise, where I will call a volunteer up from the class and I'll ask them to, what happens when I push your anger button, okay? And usually they'll say, I get angry, right? And then the next thing that I ask is, what have I gotten out? I'm the one who's pushing the buttons. What have I gotten out of this? And if the answer is obvious, I've gotten what I want. And now what's happened to you in this situation? Well, I've lost my control. I've lost my power. See, so this going into understanding what happens when a person gives over their power. And then the next question is, do you want to be a powerful person? And what would you say?
Of course, yes.
Yes, you want to be powerful. Why do you think you're giving away your power when someone tries to make you angry? They often would say, I just had a lack of awareness. I wasn't aware that, I wasn't thinking about it. So now I give them a challenge. When you go out of this classroom, can you be button-proof? In other words, do you want to give your power to that person that's trying to make you angry? And the answer is obviously no. And so they start to walk around school now thinking about the fact that I don't have to give away the control over my emotions. And this is a very powerful example because most of us are constantly doing this. Someone comes up and tries to get us angry, we give them exactly what we want.
So anger management is one of the key areas that you focus on.
And it's not just about anger, it's about any emotion. When someone tries to make you jealous, for example, if you give them what they're looking for, then you're losing your power. You're becoming under their control. And so managing emotions is just as simple as being aware that I don't want to give away my power. I don't want to give my control to the other person. So it's a very effective way, and it actually works for kids from, we teach this technique to kids 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, and they find that they're able to actually go out and use it. It's easier for them in some ways to adapt new learning behaviors than it is for us in our 40s or 50s.
So you raise awareness about managing emotions.
Awareness, because awareness is really, their whole life is based on awareness. The quality of your responses in any situation are based on the quality.
Raising awareness, making them empowered so it's in their control and they don't give that control to the other person.
Exactly.
So how many hours long is the program? Is it part of the school curriculum or is it after school?
Yeah, we normally go into the classroom and we do a 20-hour phase 1 of the program. So we're working with the students for about 20 hours. And then the phase 2 of the program is a 10-hour kind of follow-up that usually happens the second semester. So it's about a 30-hour program total, and it's often taught through the PE classes, physical education, or health classes. And that way, the the PE teachers are able to experience the program as well. And we actually have a program that we can teach the teachers how to become, how to maintain these, sort of reinforce the techniques with the students as well.
So you have your own teachers and you train the teachers in schools also.
Exactly.
So how many schools are offering this program and where are
I
they?
would say there's probably about 40 schools now in the United States that are offering, that will, within this particular school year, that are offering the program.
Okay.
And these schools are everywhere from Long Island, where we're teaching the whole population of a school. There's a small school district there where we're teaching all of the students in the whole school district. And then out here in the Bay Area, we're teaching in probably 6 or 7 schools this year. Okay. And we're teaching like the whole freshman class. And then it's all over the country, actually. We have mostly in major metropolitan areas.
Okay. And how successful is the program? Is there a way to measure success? Do you have any kind of feedback?
Well, yeah, we do evaluation that the students do at the end of the program as they're finishing. And we also take testimonials from the students, video interviews, and you know, they write down some of their experiences and things like that. And we've also done some small studies that show that the actual results that it has, the effect on the school. And in Chicago, we did a program where we taught 600 students out of 1,500 in the whole school. And they had a decrease in suspensions from 252 suspensions the year before we did the program down to 82 at the end of the year. So it was quite a big decrease. It's about 70% that the students were more able to manage their behavior, and in effect they had less suspensions from school. The best way to describe this program, I think, is the word comprehensive, because there are elements of how to manage stress, how to manage emotions, how to bring up the human values, what we call basic human values.
What are those values?
Things like responsibility, respect, enthusiasm, trust, those basic values, integrity, honesty, those basic values that are built into every person. But we find that when people are stressed, even young people are stressed, it's not so easy for them to express those values. So we have very clear lessons which bring up those values, and so that they understand the importance of, for example, taking responsibility. We do have some wonderful video clips of the students and principals and teachers that we'd love to show you, so that you can actually see for yourself what the young people and their teachers have to say about the program.
Sure, we would like to watch that.
For many like teenagers nowadays, actually, like they're mixed up in a lot of things like drugs and alcohol and gang violence, and a lot of teens nowadays have anger issues, and they don't have a good connection with their parents, and they're always so flustered and confused about every decision they make. And I think that this program really helps you to figure out.
Most recently, we did the YES program with our entire 9th grade class. All freshmen went through the program in their PE class for 6 weeks. That was very effective. Having all students have a common language and some common strategies that they can use can really change the climate for that whole group. Now we have over 400 students trained, and if they all practice those strategies, it'll help them to avoid some of those situations, help them to be more positive in life, and help them really to resist things like peer pressure and be who they want to be.
I used to get so frustrated when people just talk to me, just say anything to me, insult to me. I used to be ready to fight, but now, like, since you taught me this breathing technique, it feels much easier to just relax and come down and just brush it off my shoulders.
I've watched a lot of students that are typically known as students that are always angry all the time, to where they're more relaxed and they approach their stress differently now.
At times I can't control my anger and it just come out in the wrong way, so the breathing helped me.
One time I got really mad at my mom, and I just stopped and I started breathing, and I was like, wait, what am I doing? I like really never noticed that I actually used the breath when I would get angry until that one time when I was really mad. My mom was like, yeah, you do that all the time now. And I was like, really?
I used to be mad every day, and I couldn't never control. I used to take it out on other people. I used to like curse people out and stuff. I used to just be angry, but ever since yoga, it changed me. It makes me positive about bad situations.
But when I took the victory breaths, it was a lot easier to fall asleep, like 10 times easier.
Seems like my brain...
It seems like I'm more aware in class.
Like my brain has gained more space or something like that.
Since I do focus more, so I get the work done faster, and I've had good grades ever since.
At first, since I wasn't keeping a positive attitude, I had other things in mind, but after I was doing the breathing and stuff, I had my mind clear, so I could focus on the work.
I don't know, I'm a lot calmer than I used to be, and I have a really bad temper, and I don't know, I've had a lot going on, throughout my whole life, and it helps me sleep better, and I don't think about everything, and it just makes all the bad memories kind of go away, they don't matter anymore, they're whatever, they're in the past.
It just seems like it makes everything better, and you live a different lifestyle than you did before. And I definitely think they should go on to other schools and share with other students so that they can vent their anger and do whatever they need to, I guess, clean their life out, I guess.
It's like I said, it's like a new beginning, and you feel like you could do anything and accomplish anything.
It's like a big step for me because it helps in ways that I can't help myself.
I would be ecstatic if I had the opportunity to, I've gone through the program, have somebody come in and take that time with my students to learn this. I can't think of any student I've ever had that would not benefit from going through this program. I mean, it's something you're giving them for their life.
So I'm really thinking that this is going to help us improve the academic climate and the safety and the culture of this school.
Welcome back. Our guest is Bill Herman, National Director of the Yes for Schools program, and we just heard some teenagers and educators about how the program is helping teenagers deal with stress. It sounds like a wonderful program.
Thank you. Really, I think the secret of it is that it works in a way that's a bit under the surface, in that you have the physiological effect of the breath. The breath is something that's so integral to our life, and yet we don't pay much attention to it. It's one of the most basic sources of energy that we have, probably the most basic, because you can go a few days or weeks without food, maybe a few days without water, but how long can you go without breath? And so the breath is actually something that we can use at any moment, and it actually has the power to increase our level of awareness. As we were talking about earlier, it's the awareness in that moment that allows you to make a positive choice or a negative choice. And if you have a lot more energy, then your awareness levels are higher. And the physiological ability of the breath to do that, to increase the awareness, combined with the conceptual or intellectual understanding of what happens to our own mind in stressful situations, it's that combination of both intellectual and physiological tool of the breath that allows young people to start to just feel more in control and take more positive choices in the situations that are difficult for them.
So, do they have to do these breathing exercises every day, or only when they feel they have too much pressure which they cannot handle or they are overwhelmed? It's best if they do it as a regular basis and on a regular basis, and you find that young people many of them will actually practice it. Some of them practice it from time to time, but it's really a lifestyle change to realize that if I do some practices that are healthy for myself on a regular basis, then my energy is going to be more present. I'm going to be better able to focus on my studies and just make better choices. So it is something that's helpful to do every day, though not all of them practice it every day.
In fact, any school could benefit from it, regardless of their demographics. So, tell us, how can other schools adopt it? What is involved? What is the process?
Well, basically the principal usually makes the decision to do this, and they involve their teachers, their whichever department they want to. We've actually taught the course in many different types of classroom settings, sometimes in a leadership class, sometimes a wellness class. It's even been taught in ethics classes. So it really doesn't matter what the setting is. What's important is that the students get a chance to really practice these techniques and take some time to do it.
I see.
So, yeah, in terms of integrating it into the school, it's really the principal that usually makes the decision, and then they work with their staff to implement it into the regular school day. So it's done in the classroom setting. But there's a whole set of other factors that are involved. With the current economy, there's very little money available that the school has to pay for the program.
How much does it cost to offer the YES program in schools?
The program costs $100 per hour to actually implement it into the school.
And the schools have to pay for it?
Well, often these days the schools aren't capable of paying anything because of the economic crunch that we're under. And so we find that foundations and other corporate organizations and individual donors have been giving money to allow this to happen, because the program is funded through IHV, not that IHV funds it, but we have a fundraising mechanism in place to help raise money for the program as well.
Okay.
What is your vision for this program? Because as I said, any school could use this program.
We really are nationwide in the sense that we have schools all over the country that are doing it. We find that it's universal. But I can't imagine any young person not being able to benefit from this program enormously. We see such consistent results from the young people that take the program, such positive experiences that they have, that I know that every student could benefit. So I'd like to see it in every school, public, private.
Is it scalable? You can do that?
We have a system in place where we can train the teachers that are in the schools how to actually be the YES teachers. So they can, once they see the value of it, and many of them get inspired by seeing how much it affects the young people, they can actually take a teacher training program, and then each school can have their own YES teachers.
Before we go, what is your message for parents and teenagers and educators out there? What would you like to say to them?
I would like to say that managing this aspect of life, the social and the emotional, and just learning how to manage stress in a healthy way is so important, and that it's something that our young people are really hungry for, and that we need to do everything we can to bring them these types of tools and skills.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming by, and thanks for the wonderful work that you are doing to help teenagers. And I wish you all the best and continued success.
That was Bill Herman, National Director of the YES for Schools program in the U.S. The program is successfully teaching stress management and life management skills to teenagers in schools, skills that will continue to benefit them throughout their lives. To learn more about this wonderful program, go to youthempowermentseminar.org. The next segment of our show is about youth making a difference. And today we feature Adya Roy, a 9th grader from Dorothy Valley High School in San Ramon, California, who has a remarkable story to share with us.
Hello, my name is Adya Roy. I'm 15 years old and I go to Dorothy Valley High School in San Ramon. I recently published a book called ZOS, A Different World, and I've decided to donate all the proceeds from it towards building a school in West Bengal for the rural kids. Since I was 9 years old, I've always known that my grandfather and his friends had set up a school for the tribal kids in West Bengal, but I didn't know much about it, or I couldn't do much at that point in time. Now, in my last 2 trips, I've made it a point to go and volunteer my hours there just to make sure education is easily accessible for all of us. In 8th grade, we were exposed to the writing club, and we were presented with a challenge to write a book in 30 days. Although it seemed close to impossible at first, I finished the book 7 days prior to the deadline. As soon as I finished the book, I realized that it would have been a good idea if I could donate all the proceeds from the book towards Nayantara Memorial Charitable Trust. Right now, they study underneath a shed in someone's front yard, and the lease is expiring on July 31st. I've been trying to get as much action as I can so that I can get the building made, since my grandfather and his friends have bought the land by the money they have pooled in. So I really hope that my motion will succeed and they'll at least be able to get a ceiling over their head. Since its release in December, I've managed to raise $2,500 by the sales of ZOS. The builder has estimated around a $10,000 fee for building the school, and I intend on getting there soon enough. I hope that this will succeed, and even if I cross the fees for $10,000, I hope to build solar panels so that they don't have to rely on the fluctuating electricity board. To tell you more about the book, ZOS A Different World is actually a science fiction book meant for children through the ages of 8 through 12. It's about friendly aliens who live on a planet called ZOS, and how a human scientist, Morgani, randomly stumbles upon them. In his lifetime, Morgani manages to pay them a visit, but when he returns, he's considered crazy and put into an asylum, and he spends his entire life there. Now, Aman is born in Kolkata, and Aman is a reincarnated form of Morgani. It's all up to Aman to prove to the world that ZOS exists. Do you think he'll be able to do it? If you would like to join me on this endeavor to make education accessible to those who need it the most, please feel free to contact me at adyaroy@hotmail.com. That's ADYAROY@hotmail.com, or to like my Facebook page, which is ZOS A Different World, and I'd be glad to contact you as soon as I can, irrespective of whether you'd like to buy a book or simply send donations. Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for. To watch this show again, go to chaivithmanjula.org or YouTube. Thank you all for joining us. I'll be back with another inspiring story about giving and people making a difference. For Chai with Manjula, I'm Manjula Gupta. See you next time.